Hey guys, Michael Chassis Parts Online again. Want to make a little video for you again today. Short one probably. It's basically on the changes of the control arms. I mean, I made little changes as I've went. I've made little changes to each type of arms, and I was going to tell you about those changes because a lot of the pictures on the website are of the older versions of all these parts. This, for example, is the most popular control arms we sell. The 1/8 shorter Crown Vic lowers for struts or coilovers. You got a mount here on. This is the bottom of the arm. You got a strut or coilover mount here. You can put a strut in between here, like the factory strut, or a coilover, and there's spacers that come for this that go in between there. This is the newest mid brace, center brace. I think I probably showed you that one before. Now these used to have a tube across here that looked like the tube that's on the wide version. That's the wide version right there, if you remember. Okay, I'll show you that in a second. I've got a flat brace like that that's at the laser cutter right now. And as soon as I get some back and perfect it, I'll change this out for the flat brace like that. It's just a little easier than notching this tube and trying to make it fit. It's a pain in the ass to notch those because you got to notch them by hand because it's a real short tube. But let me get back to these arms again. Okay, the other thing I changed is I used to have a thing in the end of here that was for a 1/2 inch bolt, half 13, and it went inside the tube. Well, the factory bolt or stud on the lower control arms, on the factory arms, are 14 millimeter, and some of them are 20 millimeter at the beginning and 14 millimeter at the end. So people were having to get a different spacer to go with outcast arms, and that's what I used to have. I used to supply that spacer right there. If you're using the outcast rear arm mount, I would send that spacer right there, and you could change it out, and this would work with the smaller bolt that I had instead of obviously a stud. It's got just a bolt that goes in there. Now, this one is a 9/16 12 bolt. It's actually a bung, threaded bung. And what I do is I drill the end of this arm. This arm is a quarter thick, so I drill this, and that's a 1-inch diameter. So I drill this out about somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4, which is about 3/16, and set that in there. And on the jig, this is bolted up, and like everything else is bolted up. So no matter what, if that arm is a little bit to one side or up or down just slightly in the jig, as long as that's where it's supposed to be, then it's going to line up. Anyways, but as I said, I got to drill that first, and it sets inside a groove for welding. Now these also come with 9/16 by 4 bolts and stainless washers. You certainly want to use Loctite on that. I would assume you would know that, but I'll say it just in case. But now you don't have to worry about a different sleeve. You don't have to worry about the 1/2 inch bolt not fitting through the rear arm mount as easy as it used to be. We also changed this mount right here. It's changed a little bit in that it's got a bend in it now to where I can get it, as you can see, where it fits up against the tube. It's got a lot straighter hit there than coming in at an angle to that tube. It fits a lot better that way. Same thing for this. We put a slotted hole in the middle of that because on the jig, sometimes this tube will be over just a hair, or this one especially because this has got 2 bends. You got to bend this one from this end and bend the other bend from that end in the bender. In other words, this end clamps in the bender and you bend around this way. And then here, this end bends, clamps in the bender, and you got to bend around this way. And getting this completely level is really hard to do. And even if you do, DOM, the seam in the middle, if you don't know which way it's pointing, and even if you do sometimes, it'll bend up or down in the jig, in the bend, and it'll be just slightly up or down. And if you think DOM does not have a seam, you're wrong. It does have a seam. You just can't see it. It's real hard to see. Sometimes you can find it. You can't see it from the outside, but you can look on the inside and see it. So that's the changes to the regular strut arm. Just a bung. It's a better steel bung. It's made from virgin steel. It's not made from hot rolled. So those are makes it easier to weld on those. Okay, I got a guy coming to get these. I had UPS lose a package last week, so that's where these are going. He's going to come get them because he needs it for a client's truck. So let me put these out of the way real quick. And when we get to the, these are the super drop arms. We talked about that. The coilover fits right down inside the middle of that. We haven't changed anything on these except for that same end piece right there. Other than that, these are the same. The first version of these, that was a little bit wider, and these were a little bit wider and took a longer bolt. But what we've done here is changed this to where that is as flat as that can be right there. As you can see, way down like that. That's so you can get as narrow of a bolt as possible across here, so you don't have any clearance issues with your wheels. Okay, that's the one that Dennis uses over at Farm Truck Racing TX. It's the only arms he ever buys is those. He uses them on everything. Okay, so that's the latest on those. And then the other thing is the bag arms. We talked about the bag arms. I even showed you the way the tube comes in at the bottom now. As you can see from that angle, that's how much more clearance it's got. The other thing we did was we changed to that. It's a 1/2-inch plate. Yeah, my phone's shaking a little bit, and yes, I do. I am a little stopped up. Anyways, you got the same 9/16 12 bung. These are welded to this plate on each side. This is the same as that, same quarter thick stuff. So that's pretty strong right there. I did change this to a smaller tube. This is a 1/4 inch all the way around bigger than that tube, and I changed that with the newest version to where it's only 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way around, so it doesn't look so goofy sticking up right there. But it does stick up the same amount as that. This is in line with that bushing there. So we also changed the shape of the bag plate. It has a natural curve in it right here and right here, and it falls right along that same line. This is the same one that's in that. Used to be a different one. It's not now. Kind of standard those parts. But yeah, that's the latest on the changes. You know, as I was saying, I try to change everything to make it easier to build, to make it cheaper for me to build, so I don't have to raise costs on everything, and also make parts better and easier to install, which I think we've done every bit of that in these. As I said, we still got a change coming for these. There'll be a plate across there. I may go to a straight tube here with less of a bend. I mean, with less of a, put a bend in these, but I'm gonna have to get a coilover and make sure that I can bend it right up here at this end close enough to the bend to make it better for me. But right now, I mean, it's a pretty good angle right there. If you see, it comes straight into the tube, and I've got a jig that holds this in place, keeps this distance the same, and keeps it this way front to back the same. So none of that's different from one side to the other, and you know, it matches itself when you put it on the truck. So if you have any questions about these lower arms, and here's the thing, guys, this isn't even all the lower arms we make. We also make the arms where the other bushing is right here. You guys know about that. There's a bushing right here on like that on our A-shaped arms. Now our A-shaped arms are available for struts like this. For the wide version is available with the bushing right here, and the bag version is available with the bushing right here the same way. I just haven't made any of these with that piece there, but these are all three of these sets of arms are made on the same jig. I've just got parts that swap out on the jig, but the thing that stays the same is the ball joint plate, and this here mounts the same. Just on one, it's got double holes where I can raise it up or down to do that or that. But I can make that A-shaped arm in any of these here. Okay, I can do the A-shaped arm would be here. I'm working on a mount for these to put those on the aluminum cross member or on the frame, and then I'm also working on a universal mount. So if you want to buy that A-shaped arm and you're worried about it mounting it, I'll put that to rest. And then the mount will have the slotted holes. It's the way that your aluminum cross member has the slotted holes for here. Okay, so look for picture or videos of that as soon as I come up with them. Till then, peace.